What a game as Sean Monahan saves the Habs once again. A 3-point night, continuing to produce among some of the NHL's best players. Fantastic performance from Montembeault. Slaf with a great assist. Suzuki scores. There's a bit of a bad moment from Gallagher, but we got a lot of positive things to get into. Plus, some other amazing news is Alex Newhook is back skating. We have a ton to talk about on this episode of Habs Digest, so you're going to want to stick around. Let's just jump straight into this, Jesse. And the first thing we got to talk about is Mr. Alex Newhook. Of course, the pride of St. John's, Newfoundland, just like myself. And guess what? He is back skating. It was just 25 minutes this morning before practice. It was just a light effort, not in any gear or anything. But to see that is amazing now. Just a reminder on his timeline. Based on the original timeline, we can still expect him to be back maybe 3 to 4 weeks from now. But this sign, Jesse, among a time where, at least before tonight, the Habs had lost some brutal games, just some lack of offense in a lot of these games. To see Newhook on the verge of coming back, I feel like he's going to give such a spark for this team. And as some people are saying, he could be one of the big trade deadline acquisitions.
Yeah, perfect time in there. A spark, fresh vibes, just everything this kind of team needs right now. Not only for the offense that he can provide, but also for some of the relief that he can offer Cole Caufield, Nick Suzuki, whoever else is on that first line as well, right? It's actually pretty amazing that Cole Caufield, again, continuing his amazing point streak right now, while having the majority of the best defense from the opposition kind of focusing on you every night, right? So again, having a little bit of that help for, in our top six is really going to help us a lot.
Cole Caufield, 10 points, 6 goals in his last 8 games. Amazing. We'll get more into him later. Oh, some silky mitts. But one thing, too, I wanted to mention with Newhook, it's something that I don't want to say is lacking with the Habs recently, because we have some fast players, some good skaters. We saw Matheson do it a bit tonight, but that speed, it's sorely missed. When we see Newhook out of the lineup, when he's in the lineup, whether it's shorthanded or even 5-on-5 most of the time, he's just that spark of energy. It feels like he's flying up the wall faster than almost anyone else. And while he's not always appearing on the top of these NHL speed leaderboards, I feel like his acceleration, his ability to get away from players and just spark Habs rushes is kind of sorely missed. And I feel like just bringing him back is going to get the Habs maybe a bit more back to that style of rush chances where they really excel.
No, definitely. To be honest, I didn't get to see enough of Alex Newhook as a Hab. I want to see more. He was just starting to get cooking, right? And then he got injured. But his style of gameplay, as you mentioned, perfectly suits what we like to do as this team. It's a match made in heaven. So definitely really excited to see what type of player do we have in Alex Newhook? And in my opinion, probably a pretty good one.
Probably a pretty good one. I agree. And actually that transitions very well because we have another Habs player talking about what he thinks another player could turn into. And that's Kirby Dach. And he was talking about a lot of things on the Raw Knuckles podcast with Chris Nyland. He was on there. Go check it out. It was amazing. I didn't get a chance to watch the full thing yet, full disclosure, but there was a section where he was talking about Juraj Slafkovsky, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said basically that by the time Slaf is 26, he believes that he's going to be one of the best players in the league. Doc said he has the size, he has the skill, and he has the confidence to do all of this, right? And I mean, the work ethic too, we've seen it from Slaf, and that's amazing praise. And like we've said, we've drawn some comparisons from Kirby Dach to Juraj Slafkovsky. While they're not exactly the same player, in fact, I wouldn't say far from it, but they're definitely distinct. There are definitely elements from both of their games that overlap. And to hear Kirby say that, a guy who really started to develop later, say when Slaf is 26, just to put it in perspective, guys, Slaf will be 26 7 years from now in 2031. That feels wrong, but it's also correct. So I don't even know. It's kind of crazy. But Jesse, what praise from Kirby Dach, and it seems like a lot of the Habs guys have extremely high expectations for Juraj Slafkovsky.
One of the top guys in the league. That's bold words, but I like it. And who better to know than another NHL type of player? Mm-hmm. But for me, what we're seeing from Slaf, and then you give him 7 more years of experience, of game time, already such a big boy growing into his body. Imagine him being fully mature, how big he's going to be at 26, really kind of fill out even more. This guy's going to be a menace on the ice, So absolutely. I could just see him being a real force of nature, not only scoring a lot of goals, but almost you want to keep your head up while he's out on the ice, 26-year-old Slaf, right? So absolutely. I totally hear that. And I mean, nice to hear him get his prop from his teammates.
Yeah, for sure. Slaf is already, like we said, it feels like every time something bad happens to him, he learns, right? And he's constantly adjusting. It's like he's just collecting the Infinity Stones. He'll soon be Thanos, right? He's like, oh, I learned to keep my balance. That's step 1. He's going to eventually get that slap shot on target in games. That's step 2. And he's going to snap and half the NHL is going to disappear. He is just so, maybe that should be a new animation. He's going to be so good. Awesome to hear Kirby Dach say that. Again, great interview. Recommend you go check out Chris Nye, check out the Raw Knuckles podcast. It was a great episode. But it's time to get into the game, and that's what everyone wants to talk about. It's what I want to talk about. And I think $10 million per year for Sean Monahan is a steal.
Sign him.
Sign it. Just sign the contract.
Sign
Charles
it.
Lashwa, you said 525. Look, no. Let's go even bigger. No, but in all seriousness, Sean Monahan saved the Habs from what could have been one of the most disastrous endings to a game I've ever seen. I mean, after arguably their best first period all season, Jesse, where Cole Caufield gets a sick dangle going to the net, Slaf sauces it up perfectly to Suzuki in front for a 5-player tic-tac-toe for a goal. Matheson end-to-end for a Sean Monahan goal. Monahan with 3 points. He's now up to, if you include this game, 34 points in 48 games on the season. Yeah, guys, 34 points. He's on pace to have his best season since he was a point per game at 18-19. On pace for about 20 goals as well. I mean, he's the guy we got to focus on. We got to talk about Suzuki, Slaf, Caufield as well. Maybe some Gallagher a bit later, but Monahan, I don't even know what to say anymore. I feel like he's increasing his trade value every single day, that's for sure. But this guy is he getting back to his old form?
It looked like it. Like he was just dangerous on so many opportunities, like 3 points tonight, but there was some opportunities where he's in close and he could have had a couple more, right? A couple really close deflections. Again, so it's being an impact player just all over the ice, right? So really amazing to see. But I mean, this game just had so much drama, like just a little bit of everything. Obviously, Monahan being a big contributor to that. But like, how did this game start off so well? That video tribute to Patrick Roy, the crowd getting in. I feel like the Habs, they took energy from that, right? Getting, off to that great start, arguably our best first period of the season, right? But, no short of heroics, right? We got Savard, we got saving goal coming down to the last minute in the third. We got bodies flying everywhere. Kovacevic showing a whole lot of heart. Like Montembeault, again, playing his part to keep that puck out of the net. I'm just so happy that we're able to get this victory tonight, after some very, very, kind of hard things to deal with at the end, right? Those penalties, those obstacles to kind of overcome. The fact that we get this W, this team needed this so much tonight.
Yeah, and that impeccable record when leading after 2 periods stays intact. Don't know how they're doing that, but they are. It's unbelievable how they're able to keep those leads. And yeah, like you said, when the Bell Center has energy, especially when it's talking about one of their greats like Patrick Roy, it's like, I mean, his return was monumental. I mean, and to see the crowd get that energy, you saw that energy in the Habs right away. It died down a bit until the very end of until maybe midway through the third, you really started to see it kick into gear again. Of course, they were up 3-1. Now, we're going to talk a little bit, that Gallagher hit, I think he's going to get suspended, and I don't think it's going to be short, especially if I believe it was Pelech or Pulick. I always get them mixed up, but I think it was Pelech. Especially if he's injured, that could be a lengthy suspension for Gallagher. We're not going to show the hit. It was pretty bad, well deserving of a match penalty. 5-minute power play, Islanders scored twice, but Monahan saves the day. Let's not dwell on that too much, though, because we want to stay positive, and let's talk a bit about Slaf. Now, Slafkovsky, if you paused and took a look at the box score, he only played 12 minutes and 44 seconds tonight, which is the lowest he's played in a while. He was down on the second line with Monahan and Armia, but he was on the power play. Jesse, he was getting into some of the rough stuff. Me and him talking to Romanov. Huh? What are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do? Now, I'm not going to say the thing he said first, because that might get us demonetized, but even with the demotion to the second line, still in the first power play, I felt like Slaf he wanted to prove himself tonight. He was getting physical. He was doing all the stuff he needed to do and had a sick pass. I was happy with him.
For sure. It's nice to see the different sides of Slaf. We know him as the happy-go-lucky, but also knowing that this is a big boy and he's tough, and he's ready to play as well, right? I think the boys were definitely ready. He played an integral part on that first goal. What a beautiful power play goal. You can't draw it up better than that for Alex Burrows, where 5 guys are touching the puck. Again, our boy Monahan with the slap pass to Suzuki there for the finish, right? So really important to get off and to a good start. And Slaf was a really big part of that again tonight. So nice to see him respond in this bounce back type of game.
100%. He was good. Shout out, I believe it was Shogun2909 on Reddit for that video. Got to give credit where credit's due. But final things before we clue this up. I know everyone was so happy with that game. Not Monahan. Well, him too again. Let's just give him praise again. Sam Montembeault. He ended up with, was a 936 save percentage. He deserved for it to be higher. 44 saves on 47 shots. He couldn't have possibly done more on any of those. This could have been a shutout for him. It was so good, despite the Habs giving him so many shots. Suzuki, again, just like, I feel like, yeah, Caufield's at 10 points, 6 goals in his last 8 games. He's been on fire. I feel like Suzuki's almost getting, like, slept on by Habs fans. Like, I know we love talking about Caufield, Slaf, Monahan, all this stuff. I know Suzuki's producing, but does it feel to you, Jesse, like sometimes he just gets overlooked because of how fun some of the other players are?
It's true, but I think it's also a thing of like when you're doing your job really well, as Slick Nick often does, he can kind of get lost in the mix just because like he's so seamless, he's not really making too many mistakes, and that's kind of it, right? Of playing such a solid defensive game. But yeah, it's easy to forget like this guy's still producing, this guy's still getting the points, he's still being the captain, leading the charge tonight for us as we need him to do. And this guy stepped up to the plate multiple times, just constantly reinforcing. We did make the right play to go for a very young captain, but again, a very skilled captain, right? To kind of mark a new chapter of this team, of what we want the identity to be. And I don't think we could have chosen a better player for it.
100%. And like you guys will know if you've been watching the show a lot, Nick Suzuki is one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL by advanced metrics, by the eye test, by basically everything. He's almost unanimously considered top 5, if not top 10 defensive forward in the game. And he's now at well, I don't know if this includes tonight. I might be mistaken, but at least was 41 points in 48 games. And if that doesn't include tonight, it'd be 43 and 49. So he's almost a point per game. Top 5 defensive player in the league. Some amazing stuff. There's some other guys we got to talk about. Maybe too, Lucas Condata. Shout out to him, playing his first game in a while. Played great in the first period. There's other guys too. You give praise down in the comments. We're going to have to cut it somewhere. Shout out Sean Monahan. Oh my gosh. If we trade him, it better be for a haul. That's all I'm saying. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 15K subs, and we really appreciate all of your support. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.